So this year, next year, last year, several important anniversaries are there in connection with Srila Prabhupada. And this year is the 50th anniversary of Prabhupada's establishing ISKCON. And last year was the 40th anniversary of Krishna Balaram Temple. And next year will be the 40th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada's leaving the world. So these are giving opportunities to remember Srila Prabhupada. I personally was not present in Vrindavan when Srila Prabhupada left his body. I was in Mayapur, and I was in charge of the Gurukul, and because of that I was not able to really free myself to go to Vrindavan for that all-important occasion. Of course, I'd visited not long before Prabhupada left, I think in Radhastami. I was here at Radhastami time. But in Mayapur, I was also, because I had learned some Bengali. Of all the people there, probably I was the only Western disciple at that time who could speak Bengali fairly fluently. And I'd also formed some relationships, friendships with members of the Gaudiya Math. Our next door neighbor, Bhakti Prapan Damodar Maharaj, used to come to the temple sometimes and sit there, and I can remember oftentimes reading Chaitanya Bhagavat to him. And of course, the other Gaudiya Maths also, I would, if there was an invitation from a Gaudiya Math for prasad for some special occasion, then generally speaking I was the token ISKCON representative who would be sent to take prasadam on the behalf of Srila Prabhupada. Anyway, so in that way I had already, I was known there in ISKCON. I was more or less the person who, if there was anything to be said or done in any of the Gaudiya Maths, if there were any messages to be transmitted or anything like that, I was usually the person who did it. So it was natural that after Srila Prabhupada left, that when it became clear that one of the things that Prabhupada had mentioned specifically in his will was that money, a certain amount of money, should be given to all the ashrams and temples throughout Navadvip and Vrindavan. So I don't know who did it in Vrindavan. Maybe somebody did. Maybe there's someone else who did that same task here in Vrindavan. But I was given the task of going to all the different temples to meet the Vaishnavas, to give money specifically for Vaishnav Seva. And the accompanying that, there was to be the prarthana, the prayer from Srila Prabhupada, and any kinds of offenses that he may have committed in the course of his preaching activity, that the Vaishnavas would kindly forgive him for that. Now, of course, it was rather, even at the time I was asked to do it in a certain way, I mean, I was middle management, you could say, in ISKCON at the time. I was in charge of the Gurukul, but, in terms of the big players, the sannyasis and the GVCs and all that, I was definitely not an important person. So the fact that they delegated that task to me immediately sort of signals the fact that they did not consider it to be the supremely most important thing. They thought, I don't want to impute their motives, but that because of everything that Prabhupada had said over the years about about the Vaishnavas, about the Babajis, about the Goswamis, and about his own godbrothers, that all those things had had such a strong imprint on Prabhupada's own disciples that they felt that this was merely a formality rather than something that was really heartfelt. But as I did this, as I went from place to place and actually spoke the words, I would go to, the first place I went to was to the person whom I later ended up taking Diksha from, is Lalita Prasad Thakur. And I went to Sri Lalita Prasad Thakur and was greeted with such affection, and Lalita Prasad Thakur did set the standard. The way that he responded was exactly the same way that everybody else responded. I didn't find anybody of all of Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers or any other Vaishnava, of anybody who even considered for a moment that Srila Prabhupada had committed an offense. The reason for that, I don't know. I mean, the fact is that everybody who I met, every single one of them was ready to glorify Srila Prabhupada with 100 mouths, and especially when they saw me speaking Bengali to them and talking to them in Bengali, they felt as though Srila Prabhupada had succeeded in bringing people into the Gaudiya Vaishnava family. So, it's a long time now, nearly 40 years, and so my exact memories of all the individual encounters that I had are not so strong. Many of the people I was meeting for the first time. For instance, I went to Nitai Gaur Radhe Shyam in Navadvip. They have their place which is called Samaj Bari. And so I'd never been there before, and yet when I went there, the devotees were the Mahanta of the ashram. He was so effusive in his praise, and spoke about what a great sign, what a great thing that Srila Prabhupada was doing just by making this act of contrition, you could say, at the end of his life, that he was making it clear that for the sake of preaching, he had been saying different things. He had to separate his own disciples in order to keep them following the particular sadhana that he had prescribed for them, and he didn't want to confuse them by giving them many different options. I met Audulomi Maharaj, I met Madhav Maharaj, I met Madhusudan Maharaj, I met, of course, at that time, Akinchan Maharaj was from Goswami Maharaj's mutt. I went to Shraman Maharaj. Tirtha Maharaj was no longer present, so I went to Shraman Maharaj at the Chaitanya mutt. So, of course, I went to Devananda Gaudiya Mutt, to Sridhar Maharaj, and to Siddhanti Maharaj, Shri Rup Siddhanti Maharaj in Navadvip, and of the Goswamis. Of course, I went to the Nityananda Vamshas, Pran Gopal Goswami's family, and I went to the Govinda Bari in Navadvip. I was basically doing a search, finding all the different Vaishnavas. I went to see Gaur Maharaj out in Prachin Mayapur. I went to the Prachin Mayapur temple, and I went, of course, to Srivas Angan. So all the places that were, that were associated more or less with the most negative preaching from the ISKCON side, I went and I met all those people. So in a way, it was very enlightening, because I found all those people to be very nice Vaishnavas. I found that I was greeted and given prasad and spoken to with great affection and kindness by all of them. So I'm just trying to say that in those last few days that Srila Prabhupada was present in the world, that when he was meeting with God brothers, or when he was meeting with other members of the Vrindavan community, then he was speaking to them all in a very humble and in a very self-effacing way, showing actually the ideal qualities of the humility of a Vaishnava. And I could see, and when I listened to any of those tapes and most of those conversations, you can feel just how strongly the other devotees, even devotees who are not anywhere near the same stature as Srila Prabhupada, but the way that when Prabhupada spoke to them with humility, how every one of them, their heart melted with affection for Srila Prabhupada. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says, Sarvottam hoyeo, that even though the Vaishnava Sarvottam hoyleo, say mane nije ke mane trinadham, he thinks of himself as lower than the straw in the street. So Prabhupada was showing that perfect example right there in those last days. And so it's not surprising at all that he left in his will that he should make that apology and make that confession, let's say, and make that try to correct any kind of hard feelings that might have existed between what he had done or what he had, the things that he had said, and the rest of the Vaishnava community. So, when I went to see the Vaishnavas, then my instructions were very simple. I was given a certain amount of money that was to be given for Vaishnava Seva, and I came and I met the Acharya, the Mahanta of each of these different ashrams, and I said to them that that Srila Prabhupada had, as his last will, as one of the elements of his last will and testament, was that if in the course of his preaching he had said anything negative or offensive to the Vaishnavas, that he wished that they would forgive him for that. So this had a huge impact on me personally, because, first of all, I had the opportunity to meet and admire many Vaishnavas. Now, this was not a situation, for instance, you go and you listen to someone preach or go and listen to someone speak. This was a situation where I met them as individuals, and I had a message for them, and I could see their reaction and the way that they responded. And in every single case, the Vaishnavas responded with absolute humility, with a recognition of the historic importance of what Srila Prabhupada had done for Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And I think we still haven't seen the end of it. Obviously we haven't seen the end of it. We're still in the beginning days of what it means to have Vaishnavism become a world religion rather than a localized religion. Rather strange, we don't think, we put Srila Prabhupada on such a pedestal. We don't think that Prabhupada could actually have that kind of equal relationship with anybody. But equal relationship with the other Vaishnavas, this is, a part of the art of devotional service. And so it was those affectionate dealings were also exemplary. So, the fact that Srila Prabhupada did this, that he promoted that he first of all felt it so intensely, we can inquire into that, and certainly we shouldn't reject the idea that maybe Prabhupada did think that he'd been too strong. Maybe he did think that the devotees would benefit from the association of other advanced Vaishnavas rather than being kept away from them.